Today's Legacy Agent Solution Fireside Chat, we have none other than Kathy Chiero. How are you doing today?
Good, Craig. Good to be here.
Good to hear. So you have an amazing real estate story. Let's go ahead and just start wherever you'd like and talk about it from there.
I got into real estate largely by accident. I had young kids. My oldest son was going into school and I wanted to change communities, and I worked my job at that time. I worked in the radio and television field. It gave me quite a bit of flexible time, so I thought, what the heck, I'll get a real estate license, use it to sell my home, buy another. It was all math to me. I thought, well, I'll make money doing that and then I'll go back to television and won't use it again. Well, that was in 1996, and it turned out that I made a lot more money with a lot less work in real estate than I ever did in television. And I did love television, but it involved a lot of travel. Mm-hmm. And as my kids got older, I thought real estate was a good fit to be able to try, well, the myth that you manage your time, mm-hmm. but I thought I could manage my time, be at home, and start a new career. That was in 1996.
Mm-hmm. So how long has it been since you've been licensed?
I got my license in October of 1996, so this is my 30th year.
Congrats.
In real estate, yeah.
30 year anniversary.
Rio, yeah.
So that's kind of the typical story where the industry pulls you in with the idea of flexibility and kind of like ease, and there's kind of like the allure, mm-hmm. especially with all the media and everything now. It sounds like that's kind of the thing that attracted you. What kept you in the business?
The money.
Yeah, money.
No, it's honest to good, because the truth is, if you're good at it, you are working all the time. You don't really have flexible time, and we grow into that. We learn to manage our time better, mm-hmm. but it is an industry of hard work. It's an industry of retail hours. You're working lots of nights and weekends. It's an industry of trying to balance kids' baseball games and showing clients. It's an industry of unconventionality and not a lot of dependability. You work when the phone rings, mm-hmm. and making that phone ring, making that text come in, receiving that call is the hardest part of the business, and quite frankly, it's the reason the vast majority of people who get a license are out in a year, because it's not doing the work that's difficult, mm-hmm. it's getting the clients that is difficult. I stayed in the business because I was good at that. I was good at getting the clients, and that meant I really began making money that I never could have. I have only a high school education. I got 2 years of college, so I'm mm-hmm. not college educated, mm-hmm. And so I didn't have an avenue really that would buy me the lifestyle that real estate did. I worked hard at it. Mm-hmm. I was very good at it. And why I didn't quit is because with a high school education, what else could I do to make that kind of money in an industry which is sales, but it's sales that there is always a need. In other words, it's not seasonal really, economically seasonal perhaps, but I always said everyone who's good at sales ought to sell houses, because nobody doesn't want a house. Mm-hmm. You don't have to convince people to buy it, you just have to convince them to use you.
Yep.
So that was the key.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's the beauty of the industry, is you never, in this sales industry, you never are actually convincing someone to do something. You are guiding them to a decision, or like a lifestyle change has happened where they're going to buy a house. So I've always liked the beauty of that part. You mentioned in your story, so first of all, you work extremely hard. Mm-hmm. That is very easy to see. All your clients would say the same thing. I've seen the exact same thing. What I have noticed on the flip side of this industry is that it rewards people that really get after it a lot. And they get on this hamster wheel where they're going and going and going and making great income, and it perpetuates this cycle of, for one, there is no instruction on how to slow down that hamster wheel. For two, there is no education on retirement. And then kind of for three, where I think the industry has underserved the agent, is not providing any type of succession planning to be able to slow that down. So you kind of, what you've done is do so well because you're moving so fast that it's very hard to slow down. Tell me where you're kind of at now and if that speaks to you at all.
I don't dislike what I do, but it was never something I wanted to do forever. And I was acutely aware that, first of all, you get older. It's less fun. And at age today, 66, I don't want to work 70 hours a week. And you know, I remember the early days where I was so excited to get a call to list a house. You get my age and you think, oh gosh, I got to go list a house. So when you start sensing that, it's time to turn the industry over to the next generation. The other thing that was really difficult for me is that this is such a fast-moving industry anymore. It's not an industry of phone calls and door knocking. It's not even an industry of one-on-one relationships. It's so the tech involved anymore, the way leads are generated and cultivated has changed. And so I was really getting to the point that I knew I didn't want to do it forever. But to your point, how do you get out? It's not an industry of pensions. It's not an industry of automatic 401ks. And it is not an industry that teaches you to retire. So I knew already 5 years ago, I began looking around and realizing that some of the top industry professionals that were top of the field when I got in, all of a sudden disappeared. You didn't see their names anymore. You didn't show their houses. All of a sudden you would kind of say, hey, I've not heard that name in 10 years, and they used to be everywhere. So I hunted down those names. I began hunting down those names and saying, what did you do? Where did you go? And what I learned was that nobody had a real good plan. Some did it better than others. Some had kids in the industry and they passed on their business to them. But if you were not fortunate to have birthed a realtor in your family, there was nowhere to go. And that was not acceptable to me.
So for Legacy Agent Solution, we kind of have this tagline. So we say, the industry built on independence forgot to build an exit. How does that speak to you?
It's absolutely true. The industry built on independence. Start there. Why did you get into this industry? Because you wanted to be self-employed. You wanted to be your boss. You wanted to build your own business. You wanted to be that independent entrepreneur business owner. Okay, that's great until you want to get out, but because it's self-generated, because you did everything, because you wore so many hats, what do you do? And for me personally, you know, statistically, most of the best agents in the industry retire in whatever way they mean, which generally means going to a beach in Florida and the phone stops ringing. But when they retire, they have a book of business of 500 to 600 past clients. That's a good solid agent.
Yeah.
I had 8,000 in my database and 2,500 past clients. And in addition to that, I had created the Downsize Columbus seminar, and I just, from a very practical sense, said, I cannot let all that work just die, because even if I could afford it, even if I had built for myself a healthy 401k, or I owned real estate, or I had enough in Social Security that I didn't have to work, in my head, that was just stupid. Like, why would you work for 30 years to walk away? And one, those clients who call, you don't know who they're going to call, or are they going to be served well? And number two, someone else is making the money that I earned. I earned that money. And then as far as Downsize Columbus was going, I just knew that that was a God-given idea that I was stewarded with, and I did not think I would be a good steward of the gift to just say, sorry, this is our last year, because I'm not doing it anymore. And so I began on a search to find someone who could handle, with an infrastructure of 8,000 person database, And then secondly, who had the capacity as a realtor and as an industry leader to take over downsized Columbus. And I knew that alone most agents couldn't do. I know what it takes to do that event. And I knew that all these people who were knocking on my door, because they did start knocking on my door about 3 years ago saying, hey, we would love to take over your business. And I felt like, Jack Nicholas, you couldn't handle my business. You know, my team can't handle my business when I'm on vacation. You can't handle my business. Give me a team that can handle my business. That became my search.
So on this journey, tell me what you were looking for and what you found option-wise.
Number one, it had to be a team that shared my values. If it's not true, we don't say it. If it's not right, we don't do it. If it's not fair to all parties, we walk away. So I needed a team that shared the values. That's number one. Number two, I needed a team that had an infrastructure in place that could handle the amount of business we were doing, the number of phone calls, the number of emails. I advertise on radio and television. That has a big net. So I needed a team that already had transaction coordinators in place, that had an ISA in place, that had multiple agents to cover, you know, if I wasn't there. And they were able to put on an event that is like doing a large wedding twice a year. So that was one of the parameters. And then someone who would fairly compensate me for bringing that book of business and saying, here, take it over.
In this search for a solution, this journey that I started on to think through what this solution would be, basically what I found out was, for the most part, of the agents that want to slow down, about 80% have no plan at all. 19% have a plan, and that is when a call comes in, that then they have someone in mind that they'll refer. About 1%, which is the next level that definitely needs to be done, actually are working with someone that'll continue marketing to their database, because doing that will increase the calls to them, whereas the person just waiting for the call, it's going to dwindle very quickly, that book of business and those calls. And then kind of the next level that I never saw anyone do that I knew was a must is build this brand and connection with the database, the clients of what I call the legacy agent. So that way they stay more sticky, and meaning like they'll convert for longer and at a higher rate. And that could be having them to our Christmas party, that could be having them to our derby party, that could be just calling them and going to coffee with them or lunch with them. So they get to know the person, even though they're not ready to move yet, that when that time comes and they call Kathy and Kathy says, oh, use Craig from the Powell Bueller Group, or use Tisha, or use whoever, they're already familiar and comfortable and trust in that. So you're able to keep a higher conversion rate for them as well. The other kind of thing that really speaks to me that a lot of people forget is, like, this is good for the active agent. They are getting another lead that is of high conversion. It's good for the legacy agent. They continue getting income as they slow down. But it's also really, really good for the consumer, for our clients, because what happens to those orphaned clients is then they begin their search to find another agent.
Why would you walk away from the potential of continuing to get paid off of that, even if it's not a large business? And I think one of the reasons men and women walk away from that is because there are no options. I mean, it's harder to find an option than it is just to walk away and say, oh, well, I only had 100 clients anyway, so I'll just walk away. And what you're providing with the Legacy Agent Solutions is the opportunity to say, look, even if you have only 100 past clients, that has potential to reward you for earning that business by continuing to allow you to get paid with it. And I just think agents need to understand that.
From there, we continued on. You had a team to the merge. So tell me about what your fears were going into that, how the merge happened. There's a lot of personalities and a lot of moving parts, and kind of where you're at now.
it was God's timing in my life at that moment. It came at the right time, and because of your mother-in-law, I knew the culture of your business. Powell culture was my culture. So I could check that off. So then the next steps were infrastructure. At that point, I had an 8-person team that we had largely been together. The least amount of time the agents had been with me was 3 years, I think. But some of my team members had been with me for 10 years. So my negotiation, if you call it that, began with, it's not enough to have a place for me. You've got to have a place for all of us. Yeah. So the Powell Bueller Group, you leading that, were very patient and very good to meet with each of my team members and say, let's create a solution that works for you. So for them to make that move means that you made extraordinary efforts of accommodation to say, this is what we can do to ensure a fit on our team and allow you to continue to grow and thrive in your business. And that's a credit to you, which, by the way, I think it would be another really difficult thing to find in this industry, is to find someone who was willing to commit to the betterment of these team members that came over.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that speaks a lot to your character as well, which during the conversation that spoke a lot to me, that you cared so much about your members and your plan. Also, I'd love to take all that credit, but it also was a lot of that God's timing that you were talking about as well. Things that you had were kind of perfect fits for what I was looking for as well. And you yourself, I knew the culture you were creating and that you had brought on people that I would definitely want on our team as well. So it was really a perfect merge.
I've always said that, interesting that it's in the name of your new group, but as you get older, legacy becomes a driving factor in everything that you do. I saw a quote, one that says, pursue legacy, not luxury. And that doesn't mean anything when you're 30 or 35. Luxury is a lot prettier. It seems like a lot more fun. When you get my age, legacy makes a difference. Like, what are you leaving behind you? And so I feel like when it comes to what I'm most proud of in my career is that I do feel like, and again, when you sell, it's like, you know, Babe Ruth had the most home runs and the most strikeouts. When you serve 2,500 clients, you're going to have a few who don't like you. But I feel like for the most part, I think my client base would say, I served them well, I was honest with them, and I led them with the best intention, looking out for their best interest. I believe that's what I'm most proud of.
Okay. What does legacy mean to you?
Legacy means that when I die, and however many people come to my funeral, what will be said about me is not how many homes I sold. It will be said the character I brought to the table, the children I raised, the lives I've changed, the money I gave into ministries and people that snowballed into changed lives. That's the legacy. And real estate happened to be an industry that allowed me to do that. And so again, I think that becomes more important to me.
Yeah, and we align with that as well. On my whiteboard, did you have a positive impact on the world today? And I think about it every single day.
I want my adult children to have people come up to them for years to come and say, this is the mark your mom made on my life. And to me, whatever money I made in the industry pales, that my kids can move forward knowing that that they have a mom who chose that legacy and that gift to them over whatever material things would come from that.
Yeah, so you've taken kind of this next step role that is very important to me and that I surround myself with. So kind of more into like mentoring, we'll say like business mind, especially to me, but also to others. Tell me a little bit about that and where that passion came from.
The passion, my mom was an academic. My mom was a lifelong teacher. And so by osmosis almost, teaching is ingrained in me. And you know, another thing happens when you get older is you're not building anymore. You're not the castle builder. You've gone, I might not be at the top of the hill, but I'm as high up as I want to go. And so it matters less. It matters less the gift you give to others of your education or your experience, or here, let me show you a way to do that. Let me tell you just my thoughts on what you're doing, and you decide what works for you. It's no longer competition, and it's no longer, well, I'm not going to tell them my secrets because I'm still, I was never like that, but still I know some people say, I remember when I used to do home buyer seminars, and the Columbus Board of Realtors would have me come teach other agents how to do it. And agents would say to me, why are you giving away your secrets? Why are you teaching? And my first answer was because I know most of them will never do it, but I also knew it didn't matter. There was enough fish in the sea, so to speak. I used to say, again, from a scriptural basis, that I know my source. I know that God is my source. And does a man who lives by the ocean fear giving away salt water? No, because he knows his source. So I've never been afraid to give that knowledge or that mentoring. But as I've gotten older, you look back and you see a lot of younger agents struggling the way I struggled on how to do this and what to do and what not to do. And so it's given me a real passion to text or call. I do a lot of voice messaging where I'll see someone post something on social media and I'll just call them and leave them a voice message just to encourage them. You know, look, that was a really good thing you did. And here, let me make a suggestion on how you could solve that problem. And again, it's quiet, it's in the background. I don't need to be on stage to do that. But it's kind of like age and experience have given me permission to do that, to speak into someone's life. And it's what I hope I bring to your team and the agents that join, because I think you start adding up the years of experience that all of us have, and it's in the hundreds of years of experience that younger or newer agents can benefit from.
That role is very important to me. And I want to surround myself with people wiser and smarter than me that are open and available and want to do that type of mentoring. So I definitely really appreciate it. Also from that, I've taken note and really admire the humility from you throughout this whole process. You didn't have the side of like wanting your name on the brand and wanting to, you know, kind of like push your ideologies or like just like the call to me saying, here's how I would do it, but it's your team, do it however you want. Where does that humility come from? And is that easy for you?
Well, there's two parts to that. One is understanding authority, and I was raised in the home of a colonel in the Air Force. So chain of command and authority, you learn again just by being around that. And so I've fully recognized that when I turn my team over to you, you are now the authority. And I laugh about it because I have been the authority for 30 years. So some of it is not, I'm trying to be disrespectful, I just forget. I just do things because I'm used to it. And so I have to stop and purposely think, no, this is Craig's team now, so the authority is his, and I have a real clear sense of that sort of chain of command. In fact, I'm very sensitive to it, and I've learned to stop and ask, okay, is this a decision I should make, or does that now go to Craig? And so, and even when my agents come to me, I'll say to them, you know, I'm going to give you my opinion, but Craig is the authority now. You need to go to Craig and ask, you know, how he wants you to handle that. So that wasn't hard. That's just, to me, is simple chain of command. And thank you for the humility. The humility of it is the recognition that nothing I have is mine anyway. And my, you know, in the big picture, you know what, a real sobering fact is that by the fourth generation beyond us, we don't exist anymore. We will never be talked about unless you are a Steve Jobs, or unless you're somebody who cured cancer. The fourth generation for most of us, we will not even be remembered. We'll not know that we even walked the earth. So when you think about it like that, what difference does it make what name the team?
Yeah.
It's such a trivial thing, it makes no difference. And so it allows me to be very aware of who I am and who I'm not. The other thing that happens is my values shift. I really don't care about real estate anymore. I really don't, even today. My values have shifted to what is the next thing. I may not even have an answer for it yet, but that's more important to me than whether my name's on anything.
Yep.
So when you think in a big picture like that, you really begin, really the focus of life really starts to narrow, because you're really just focusing on valuing every day. There are more days behind me than ahead of me. And so, again, the scripture says, I want to finish strong. I want to finish that race strong. And that means I have to be in tune every day to God, what do I set my hand to today? And quibbling over something like a name or on the sign or is my picture there, it's just trivial. It doesn't matter anymore. I have my eyes set on the more important things, which is how do I get the most value and eternal value about all the days I have left, because I don't know how many those are.
Yeah, that was very interesting to me, and really spoke a lot to your character. I definitely agree that names and ego type of things like that, they get forgotten. What does continue on is your humility that came through, and your mentorship will impact me and how I mentor my kids or the next leader of the business, who will then impact the next leader of the business. So that type of personality trait does pass through, which is kind of like the beautiful thing anyways. So just kind of like wrapping up through some of this stuff, what is your biggest fear about stepping back?
I don't think I have any fears. I think I pursued it for so long. I think my biggest fear is not stepping away from real estate, but making sure where I go is correct. In other words, I think I fear making a mistake, choosing what's next more than what I leave behind. One of the things about feeling so confident in you and your team, those aren't where the fears are. I am fully confident that my team will go in the way it's supposed to go and grow over the next several years. And what I pursued as my legacy, which is the care of my clients and the continuance of Downsize Columbus, those are in good hands. So I don't have any fears about that. If I have any fears, and even that's a strong word, it's with the idea of discovering and walking with integrity in what's next, that I don't make mistakes. I don't have time for mistakes. So whatever I do next, I want to make sure I choose well, pursue it well, and do it right, because I don't have do-over time. So I want to make sure that's done well.
Perfect. Well, definitely thank you so much for being on the Fireside Chat today. You mean a lot to me. It has been such a journey throughout these past 7 months or so that we've been working through all this. I've already learned a lot, and I know I have a lot more to learn. So I really appreciate you and admire you. I think there is a lot more people similar to yourself that we can have this positive impact on them, which in turn is going to have that change on the industry that definitely is needed. So I just want to say thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the journey.
Thank you. Thanks, Craig.